And we are now going to be joined by Kyle Busch from Richard Childress Racing. Kyle has a Cup win here back in 2011. Also has 3 wins this season already in the NASCAR Cup Series. We will open it up for questions for Kyle. Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless microphone to you. We'll start here with Stephen.
Kyle, I've got to kick it off a little bit lighthearted and ask you about SRX and Joey Logano jumping on the radio during the broadcast. What went through your head the moment that you heard his voice in the radio?
What the hell? That was probably the first thing, but after that, I don't even remember what he asked me, but we were kind of in a little cat and mouse game. I guess that's what he brought up with Brad, and just kind of trying to figure out how hard to push and what to do at that point in the race. But knowing there was still a couple cautions coming, you just kind of try to take care of your stuff and pace yourself. And then that's right when Helio was on the bout to go to the front and take the lead. So he nudged me and got by me. So thankfully Joey was on my radio, so it was his fault I lost the spot. But we were able to make it back up later. I wish he would have come back on the radio later when I was on some of those restarts. He could have spotted for me. That would have been good.
He actually said on the broadcast with 2 to go, he thought about jumping back on your radio, but figured that was a bad time to do it. Are you going to invite him back to be a spotter anytime soon?
Yeah, no, it was fine. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's him or Kevin or Connor. Whoever else they have up in the booth there with SRX, it's always it's kind of lighthearted, so it's fun. It's kind of neat that they do that. There's no money on the line, there's no points on the line, none of that stuff. So obviously, it's not quite as serious as our Sunday job.
I'm going to go over to the left to Matt.
Matt Weaver, Sportsnaut, kind of a follow-up on that, having done the last 2 races and kind of surveyed the landscape. What do you think the future of what they're doing could look like, and what would you change? What do you really like? Stuff like that.
Honestly, I feel like they've got a pretty good program on what they're doing. I know it's really tough on the guys and the girls who work behind the scenes and do all the stuff with preparing the cars and working on the cars. Unfortunately, Berlin was a decent race where about the only work they really got to do is clean out the burnout rubber from my car this week, But 12 cars, you could probably do 16 at least. It'd be cool to see more cars. I think that it's okay when you have some calamity and some crashes and stuff like that, as long as everybody's kind of keeping safe. Stremme had a throttle stick in one of the test cars there the other day, and he whaled a wall, and he was okay. And Kanan destroyed the fence too at Stafford. So the cars do have some good safety aspects to them, which is nice. We're at short tracks, so it's not going 180 miles an hour. We're going 100, 120 maybe. So it's just cool that they have all the short tracks that they go to. There's a lot of great short tracks across the country that would be really fun to watch those cars go around at. Richmond actually might be too big of a racetrack to go to for those cars. You could put on a race there, but I think it would be a little bit too big of a speedway. So the short track, half miles and under, are a really good place for them.
And then a big picture NASCAR question. Drivers have been beating the drum, I guess, the last 2 years with the next gen about how we're working on aero, we're working on all the underbody stuff, but really at the end of the day, the cars are just so close, and that's one of the biggest things to overcome. Which got me thinking about IndyCar. It's a spec car, but the damper program is open for development. Is there one thing that you think we could choose on this car and open it up to kind of create a little bit of speed disparity?
Yeah, I don't know. The biggest thing for me that I feel like is a hindrance to the car and traffic and all that sort of stuff is the underbody. They wanted a flat sheet across the bottom, so it's the same for everybody, that they don't have to police. But honestly, I feel like that's probably our biggest detriment with this car. Is we all talked about overbody, underbody, aero, this and that for years, tens of years. And we all thought the underbody aero was the way to go, but honestly, we've gone backwards. It's worse in traffic. So I feel like that stems from that, and to get rid of that and just have overbody and what all we do there. And the cars are all the same. You buy them from the same supplier and everything else, so they're homologated basically. So they got a scanning device that scans the floors. Why don't we just scan the bottom of the cars without a pan, you know, and all the rough surfaces and everything else underneath the bottom of the car. But that's kind of my thing. I don't know if that really makes any more discrepancy between the field on speed. I think that's just a traffic thing, in my opinion.
Go over to Lee.
Lee Spencer, catchfence.com. Couple, just really quick, you guys decided to move Brexton up a division. He told me the other night at Berlin. Did you just kind of feel like he had exhausted the division he was at and it was time to challenge him?
So the Midwest Swing is what we call it. That's what we're on. And when we go to some of these places, with as competitive as Millbridge is, cadet class is basically their beginner box class anywhere else. You know, so last year we ran the beginner box class and we won at Wisconsin. We should have won at Iowa, but we got put on the berm with 2 to go. So I figured this year, you know, if he wants to kind of step up and move up to the older kids class and run with the older kids, because that's more so his grouping of talent with the other kids in the Midwest, because it's just, I don't know if they just don't race as much or what, but the competition at Millbridge is the highest anywhere. If you can win at Millbridge, you can win anywhere. I've had multiple dads tell me that, and it's true. So, you know, I feel like the best kids in the country are there, and so when we go out of town, we'll bump up a class.
And looking at turns 1 of the next 2 road courses, how important is it to get through turn 1 at Indy and turn 1 at Watkins Glen so you don't screw up your whole lap?
Yeah, well, talking about cars being close and similar and hard to pass, all that, you know, that's your time to make up time is on the restarts right then and there. Once you get through about the first 3 or 4 corners, it's over, you know. So that's why you see so many aggressive moves, dive bombs, all that stuff on restarts, is to make up. If you can get 2 spots right now, that's 2 spots that you're better than what you were, right? So, you know, Indy, I bet you I probably missed it in the driver's meeting here at 10 o'clock this morning. I was still sleeping, so trying to catch up from a long week. But, you know, where the restart zone is and stuff like that, and try to get us a little bit singled out. I felt like the restarts at Chicago were perfect. I thought that was a really good idea. We had an acceleration zone right before a corner, and then we were single file, so it all kind of kept us, you know, a little bit away from each other, and it was good, clean racing. And once you could make up time on a guy and outbrake a guy, then you did that, you know. But it wasn't just 4 wide down a straightaway funneling into a 1-lane corner.
Do we have any additional questions for Kyle? Go to Chris.
Chris Knight, catchfence.com. I hate to bring up the Truck Series, but I know you're pretty vocal last week in talking about the Truck Series and how the model is right now. Are you hopeful that maybe with the new TV package in 2025, the business model will increase and help determine maybe who is able to get behind the wheel of a KBM truck?
No, I voice my opinion on what I feel, but I don't foresee it changing. So we'll just see what happens down the road and what new TV deal there is and what that means. But I honestly don't think it's going to be a significant enough change to make a difference. And you know, we'll see what we can do with you know, with our team going forward. You know, we've got my part-time races, my 5 races for next year, and then we've got the rest of the truck still open for next year to kind of figure out what we're going to do in that respect. But you know, Purdy will be back and Sanchez will be back, so you know, we're pretty good with where we're at. Mm-hmm.
Anything final for Kyle? All right, Kyle, thanks for joining us. Good luck this weekend.